The Rams drafted Blake Corum in the third round of the 2024 NFL Draft. Big-time draft pick for a big-time running back prospect who was very productive out of Michigan. Looks like he's going to be a very reliable running back for the Rams. And now this sparks a debate for the long term, him versus Kyren Williams, and what are they going to do with this backfield going forward. I pulled up the interview from Sean McVay right after the draft selection of Blake Corum. We're going to listen to that, and we're going to look at some advanced metrics. Before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now because we're digging in on these rookies every single day this offseason. We're going to be looking at their highlights at rookie camp and everything else. When Blake Corum starts making plays in rookie camp, mini camp, training camp, we'll be here for you. Click that button. Stop missing out. But we're going to jump right in. We're going to listen to Sean McVay, a couple minutes, talk about Blake Corum and Kyren Williams. Very interesting nuggets here. Let's let it rip.
You know, for me, one of the things that jumped off is there's a lot of traits that reminded me of Kyren Williams. You know, obviously I love Kyren, and he's been so important and just, you know, the human being, but then also when you just look at the way he works at it, the production and the things that he was able to bring to our offense last year, and even really some of the things that he worked through his rookie year. And I think there's a lot of similarities. Obviously, Kyren will put Blake under his arm and be a great mentor and kind of a leader. But Ron Gould was really excited about him. Mike LaFleur, I obviously loved his game. And so he's got a bunch of, tape to be able to evaluate. He's been a part of an incredibly successful program. He's been the bell cow for them in the midst of, the successful runs that they've had the last few years. And so we're really looking forward to getting to work with. Yeah, I think they've got to earn trust, consistent production, based on the different situations that come up, through all three downs and fourth down. You want to see guys that are productive runners that understand, where they, supposed to set blocks at the point of attack, what's the intent of the play. You want to see guys that compete without the ball. He does a great job of competing without the ball and protection. I think there's some different things that he can do to bring an added element in the pass game. And so I think it's really just the trust, the consistency of what Ron's asking, snap in and snap out. And you've seen a lot of those things that have been on tape for him. And there's a lot of things that you can evaluate that are easier. You see so often a lot of these running backs are accepting runs off the offset gun. He's been playing, they're a big under center outfit or taking, runs from the pistol. And he's done a great job. Where you can see he's at his best when his shoulders are square to the line of scrimmage. But they do a good job with a lot of different run schemes that are easy to evaluate, and then you just see the competitive toughness. And then, as games wear on, it seems like that's when he gets better and better. And I just remember even, talking to a bunch of our coaches when the college football playoffs started, and you're watching the impact that he had on the Alabama game. That's a tough defense, back and forth, and then in crunch time in the overtime period, he makes a great run where he's inside, weaves it back out, and is able to finish it, that ultimately ended up being the game-winning play. And so, but he's had stuff like that show up throughout the course of his career.
This draft pick was very predictable now that I think about it. Go back to Cam Akers. Go back to him being in the doghouse. Now go back to the last part of that clip when they asked him, what do you need from a rookie running back for them to be successful early in their career? They need them to be trustable. They need them to be dependable. Think about Cam Akers being in the doghouse often. Think about all those rumors and him being shipped off. Think about that. Now think about the draft here. Think about how we were talking about Blake Corum versus the rest of the running back pool. We said he was the most dependable running back in the class. We said he was a lunch pail running back. He's going to get you what's asked. He's going to be good in the passing game. He's going to be good between the tackles. He's good everywhere. You're going to count for him everywhere. He's going to be able to pass protect. Anything you ask out of him, he's going to be able to do. They got bit by the Cam Akers bug. They don't want that to happen again. And then when we look at Kyren Williams and Blake Corum and what he said about them, they are close and very similar when it comes to skill set. Both very dependable players, both very good in the passing game. Both can catch balls out of the backfield. Similar in stature, but also very different because Blake Corum is rocked up. Blake Corum is obviously faster, more explosive. Kyren Williams, the one thing I said about him, and I caught a lot of hate with Kyren Williams because I was very high on him, and he fell in the draft. He did not post a good 40 time. caught a lot of hate on Kyren Williams. I said he was very dependable. He was good in the passing game, sneaky in the passing game because he was very dependable at pass blocking, and then you can take him out there in the flat, toss him some balls, and we saw that this year. It happened. It materialized. Same thing with Blake Corum. Now that I think about the landing spot here in the third round, this was very predictable because you can't let Kyren Williams get this many touches and opportunities for the duration of his career, or he's going to break down like you saw in the middle of the season there. And you're going to see that too often. His career going to be cut short. We need Blake Corum there to siphon some of that workload. We need them to feed off of each other. And then when the time is right, Blake Corum takes over because running backs live in short windows. That's the NFL these days. That's how running backs work. They do not last a lifetime, and Blake Corum will eventually be the successor to Kyren Williams. That's just how it's going to be, and I do not see Blake Corum being a bust. He's just way too dependable. You're probably going to get two Kyren Williamses back there. One a little bit faster, one a little bit more experienced. One you can use a little bit more in the passing game with Kyren Williams, but the other one between the tackles with a little bit more pop. Think about the middle of the season there when there wasn't any production from Kyren Williams. This is his fantasy production, PPR points per game, one of the best running backs in the league. So we're factoring in his receiving output, his yardage totals, and he's one of the tops, RB1, top 12 week in and week out with production. One of the top running backs when it came to production last year. But think about when he was out. If he keeps getting the workload we saw last year, he is going to be out. He's going to be hurt just like any other running back. You need to get another good running back with them. And when he was out, they were trying to pull strings at running back very hard. If you remember this channel in season last year, when we were seeing Kyren Williams out, we were trying to figure it out. We were reading or watching him in interviews. We were watching Sean McVay talk about the running backs trying to figure it out. We couldn't get it right, really, because they couldn't figure it out. They didn't know what they wanted to do until Kyren Williams came back. And when you think about the workload and him getting hurt, they were so bad that they couldn't go against what they wanted to do. They had to continue to force feed him touches, and they know they couldn't go into the 2024 NFL season and continue to feed Kyren Williams touches like this. This is great for Kyren Williams. This is great for the Rams for the long term. For fantasy football, it is going to cut in Kyren Williams' workload a little bit. Do not expect him to hit that upside. However, when it comes to value, people are going to see Blake Corum. He's going to be a little bit more of a discount. He is going to give you production to some degree. He is going to be fantasy viable. Blake Corum might be too. These running backs are going to feed off each other, and I expect Blake Corum to be a big thing in this offense in the future, maybe in a couple years. Maybe if Kyren Williams gets hurt, because running backs do fall off. They do get hurt. They do get injured. Running back is the hurt business. That is the thing about running backs, and it's good to have two good ones. And Blake Corum is a damn good running back prospect. I do not expect them to steal Kyren Williams' lunch, but I expect running backs to do running back things. Running backs run in short windows. Kyren Williams has had his window halfway open now, and now we got to see how much longer he's got with this full workload. He got a chunk of workload last year. Do we have another year, 2 years, 3 years? Blake Corum's right there. Blake Corum's going to eventually start taking a little bit, chipping away, because he's good. You expect these guys to compete, but the Rams are in a good situation. In Dynasty Fantasy Football, you want Blake Corum on your team. They wanted him. They had a good running back. They could have waited a little bit longer on running back. Running back was falling deep in day 3. There were still some talented options in the later rounds, but they wanted Blake Corum. It's not like there was a huge running back run on day 2. There was not. It wasn't there. They could have picked up Jalen Wright if they wanted a flashy running back, but they got bit by Cam Akers. They wanted to make sure they got their guy. They wanted dependability. They went shopping, and they shopped for what they want, and they got Blake Corum because he is dependable. Dependability is a huge thing with the Rams. That is one thing McVay wants. He wants you to be able to do what's asked and do it well. Blake Corum's going to be able to do that. Rams fans, you guys got yourselves a good running back. Whoever takes over, you're in the good. You're in the good. That's all you need to care about. Fantasy football aficionados. Kyren Williams, check the discount. Blake Corum, you're going to want some shares. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.